I'm bought in. I've burned the ships. I believe in this. I believe in myopia management. If my kids had it, this is what I would do. All right, my friends, the Ultimate OD podcast. 5 things with a bonus that I wish I knew when I started. I'm giving them to you now so you can be 13 years ahead of me. Closing thought of the episode. This is the Ultimate OD podcast. Here we go. All right, my friends, the Ultimate OD podcast. Thank you for the likes, listens, subscribers, all my fellow Ultimate ODs out there. I appreciate you. Fun episode for you guys tonight. The 5 things I wish I knew when I started. These are things that I've been thinking about a lot lately, and just kind of crazy to know how far I've come in the evolution of these realizations. So, number 1, when you are practicing, you need to meet the patient where they are. So when I first started, one of the things that I would do is have a preconceived plan. The patient was going to come in, we're going to do this, and this is where we're going to be. And some people did fine, some people didn't do great with that, and mixed results, okay? And as I started to learn my patient population, learn who I was working with and what they expected, I started to cater my messaging to the patient in front of me. For example, like things that would come up. When I first started, my tool was a hammer, so everything was a nail. So they were coming in, they needed glasses or they needed contacts. And we're going to find a way to make that happen. Now I'm much more realistic about expectations. If a patient's coming in and they're a hyperope that's never wore contacts or glasses, like, let me try those contacts there, and they're presbyopic, they're 50, it's not going to go well, right? They're never going to see like they did when they were 20. That's what they want. They don't want to have to wear glasses or readers ever. So I'm like, sure, we can do this, but I'll give them the facts. Like, you're not going to see like you do with your readers, and you're going to lose a little bit of distance. Like, we have a real honest conversation, and then I'm honest, like, can you touch your eyes? No, I have no desire to do that. Well, contacts aren't going to be the best for you, right? So just meeting them to where they're at. And I was talking to my coworker the other day, and she had a patient that diabetic, and he clearly needed some help. He has some metabolic issues going on, and we have DVS in our office. I promise DVS. I think it's a great supplement, but it's expensive, right? And patients, when you take supplements like that, it's helping them. It's providing them with antioxidants, but at the end of the day, they don't feel any different, right? We know it's providing protection, but they don't feel different, and it's expensive. So came in, didn't get it, came back, and we were just talking about, I think he has some systemic issues, some rheumatoid arthritis, and I'm like, so what are you thinking? Like, omegas or, vision elements? That's what we have. And her response was, I'm thinking more the omegas. And I'm like, that's definitely a good choice, right? He has systemic inflammation. Omegas are going to help reduce that. But on the same token, he didn't want the DVS. The omega 3s are basically the same price for a month's supply, right? I said, what about the vision elements? He goes, well, that's not nearly going to be as effective for him. I go, yeah, but is he going to get it? It's great if you give him the best option, but if he's not going to get it, is that beneficial? And I encouraged her to have the conversation like, hey, be honest with me, man. Like, you need help. These are the things that will help your body, help your eyes. This is this much and this is this much. What do you think you're going to do? And it was just kind of like eye-opening. And again, I've had so many of these conversations. She is completely correct in what's best for the patient in that situation, but what are they going to do? And, she had the conversation, he got the vision elements, right? It was like 3 month supply for $70, $80. And it's like $50 for a month supply of the omega-3s or the DVS, right? You honestly, you can see where the patient's coming from. You're meeting them where they're at. When you're talking to patients that have dry eye, these are the things that are best for you, but where are you at? What are you willing to do and commit to right now? Right? Finding out where the patient is at and meeting them there is one of the biggest things I've done to be more successful in my practice. So that's something I really suggest for you. Number 2, be decisive. They're buying you. So myopia management was one of the first things that I went down the path of. I'm like, myopia management is amazing. I think it's effective. We're going to do this. And I prepared a presentation, and it was lengthy, right? It had every statistic, every article, and I go through the packet with a parent and say, this is what we want to do. And they kind of look at me with kind of eyes glazed over, totally talked over their heads. And they're like, all right, yeah, we'll think about it. Gave the packet. I'm like, great. I killed that. I nailed it, right? And then they wouldn't call back. And then I finally got to the point, after doing this a bunch of times, and then, that's a lesson within the lesson, is constantly be refining your craft. The more reps you get, the better you'll be at communicating with patients. So have the same conversation. And I got to the point where I'm like, this is the problem. This is how I want to fix it. Didn't talk about statistics. I had all the information, the same presentation available. They didn't even look at the packet. This is what you say. This is what we're going to do. They're buying you, right? The patient trusts you. You're their doctor. Hopefully you've built a rapport over the years, or you've communicated with them your dedication, your knowledge to what you're doing. You tell them, this is what I do. This is what is best for your child, or this is what's best for your situation. I do the same thing with dry eye, right? This is what you need to do, period. And again, in my conversations with my associate, one of the things that I really love is we bounce ideas off each other's heads. And a comment I made was, when I'm offering a solution, I'm bought in. I've burned the ships. I believe in this. I believe in myopia management. If my kids had it, this is what I would do. Dry eye, my treatments, I do it on my wife, my patients. I've seen the results. I'll sell you an IPL because I believe in it. All the products I offer in office, I either my wife is using them or I'm using them because I literally believe in them. I think they help, right? So I can offer anything with full enthusiasm, full authenticity, that I believe in this method of treatment. There's things I don't offer because I'm not fully bought in on them, but if I'm offering or carrying in the office, I'm all in, right? And that's what the patients are buying, right? So what do we got? Meet the patient where they're at, and then be decisive. They're buying you. So that means you have to sell what you believe in, have what you believe in your office. Don't listen to all the influencers or the reps that are telling you this is the best thing. If you're not bought in, if you wouldn't do it for yourself, your kids, or your wife, your spouse, are you really bought in, right? If your parents came in and they needed something, what are you giving them? That's a barometer that I'd use, right? Number 3, wisdom from the older docs. All right, so I was at Cheyenne Vision Clinic, and again, that's where the seed was planted. That's who I want to be. Martin Carroll, the genius of a doctor, right? Who's done more for the profession than I can ever hope to do. I was in there, and I think of all the little things that I thought I knew, right? And again, this didn't really happen with him, but a professor telling me, hey, when you go in, you can do get a cover test and have the target be right here, use a finger, just something, a popsicle stick with a sticker on it. And I was like, Dr. Kadoof, that's not a accommodative target. Right over my head, right? I was missing the point. They're giving you wisdom. They've fought the battles. Yeah, there's there's stuff that you do clinically or you study in school, but the great doctors are practical. They do things the way they do them because they've lived life. They're in the trenches. They've done it. And Marty would just have this way about him. I swear, he'd do an exam And I'd be like, you didn't do anything. You kind of looked at him in the slit lamp, and you basically just talked to him the whole time, man. It's like, exactly. He goes, don't miss big things and connect with the patient. And I was like, what is this guy talking about? But he has an amazing practice. He has this connection, and you quiz him on anything, he knows what he's talking about. He's a very intelligent doctor. And I look at him, and then I looked at the professors, the academics that would come in. I'm like, Marty knows what they know, but he's a different kind of doctor. Couldn't put my finger on it. And it's because he's in the real world. He's in private practice. He's doing this. When you're in a clinical academic setting, nothing against it. I would love to be in those settings. I'd love to be a mentor, but that's not what we're doing in private practice. Those older docs, Gary Anderson's another guy that I was at a meeting, a rep, a dinner, and I was asking about like how he does contact lenses, if he stocks stuff in office, and he's like, no, I hate having inventory in there, but I'll buy banks day after day after day. I'm like, banks, what are these? And learn from him. And when he was talking to me about, I had an office in Coopersville and Allendale, and they're like 10 miles apart. He's like, does that really work? And my response was, well, we'll find out. I just really opened it. And it didn't work out, right? It wasn't, I needed another doctor. If I had another doctor, it probably would have worked a lot better, but I wasn't ready to make that commitment. But he could literally just see that and know that there was an issue, right? Marty did things a different way, but he had a way of connecting. Dr. Katouf, when she was telling me or trying to communicate to the student body of how to do an exam in the real world, and I was caught up on, that's a non-accommodative target. Punch me in the face, will you? Like, how dumb is that? Like, and when you talk to younger docs, like I remember I had a student come in, I was recruiting a doctor, and she saw some of the workups that my staff does and whatnot, and she's like, well, I saw how they were doing the interest testing, and that's just not how I do it. Yeah, does it? Granted, confrontational visual fields, right? Okay. Testing pupils, they matter. There's times when they matter, but if that's what the hill you're dying on and that's your focus, come on now, right? We have things that we know that really stinking matter, right? At Cheyenne, they do a elaborate, like 20-minute workup. And I asked the doctors, I'm like, guys, why are you doing such a long workup? You're not even looking at a single piece of the data. And their comment was, well, it adds value to what we do. And I didn't get it, right? But the perception of the patient is what matters at the end of the day. We're an advanced office. We have all the newest technology. And by going through that rigorous process, that's the value they were selling, right? These older docs that have been through the grind, the good times, the bad times, they've grown a practice. They have wisdom. Listen to it. I didn't at first. Again, that's why I have this podcast. I'm trying to share what I've learned, but listen to those older docs. Okay? Number 4, maybe a humbling experience. But when you first start out, invariably you're going to have RX checks. Right? You'll have RX checks regardless. But my frequency of getting RX checks was a little bit higher when I first started. And part of that was I had shorter rooms. I was overplussing the patient. But when a patient comes in for an RX check, there's a way to approach that. And one is be humble. How can I help you? What's your issue? They're giving you a chance to fix the problem. I was not that guy. I was like, I did this right. You're wrong. Let me tell you why what I did was the right way. Who gives a crap? If they can't see or they're not happy, you did something that's not great for your business, right? When I do have them, and they're few and far between now, hey, what's going on? Help me understand. Okay, we're going to fix this. I'm going to take care of you. I am as accommodating as I can possibly be. Approach an RX check as if you are the problem. Have that mindset, and you're going to do everything you can to fix it. Now, again, you have a engineer that is just the most annoying person, has their diagrams and showing you what they're, I get it, right? You're going to have, it's hard to be accommodating to that person. But when they first come in, you need to recognize that you are the issue. You're the problem. How can you help them trust you more? oh, we're going to make this right. You want them to keep coming back. And I have patients that come in and I look, there's an RX check or there's something here. I'm well aware of when I'm doing the refraction going forward that we're going to watch for this and that. And they have good days, they have bad days, and you might have been off. It literally might have been your problem, right? But have the mentality that you messed up and you're going to fix it, right? I was very defensive, did everything I could to not have them come in and do an RX check, adjust it, have them work with the staff. Just take care of it. Do it quickly and efficiently, and they will appreciate you, and they'll keep coming back. 13 years later, I still have them, right? They trust me enough that if there's an issue, we're going to take care of them. I think that's a win. Number 5, know what matters in the exam room. All right? This is something that I learned along the way. I didn't really realize that this was a thing until I started talking to my colleagues, my counterparts, a lot of the younger docs. We can get caught up in a crazy chief complaint or a case history, something that's different. Or when a dry eye patient comes in, they have a laundry list of issues. At the end of the day, you still have to do a slit lamp exam and you have to do a refraction. Right? I don't care what their complaint is, what's going on. You're going to, if it's a comprehensive, you're going to refract them. You're going to do a slit lamp exam. Right? Know what matters. You can be so much more efficient if you're like, you know what, before we go any further, let me check your prescription. Oh, all right. They'll quiet right down because they know this matters. And it makes sense to them. Of course, they're going to check my prescription to tell me what's wrong with my eyes. You can buy time. Get that. Okay, let me look at the health of your eyes. Do your slit lamp exam. Okay, go back into explaining what you were explaining. You don't even have to listen to them. You know when you do your refraction, you do your slit lamp exam, you know what the issue is. If you want further detail, now you can honestly ask questions that matter. Hey, have you ever had a family history of this? Has a doctor ever talked to you about X, Y, or Z? Right? But get the data that matters. Get that and then let them spill their guts out. But if you waste 20 minutes listening to their case history and then realize they just like to talk, you're now 20 minutes behind schedule and you still got to get your refraction, still got to get that slit lamp. Get the things that matter first, right? Know what drives your exam. So if I have a patient that wants to give me a huge case history, I'll do it okay, let me put in the dyes. Okay, I'm sitting down, letting them settle. Tell me some more. Let me check on those. Okay, they're quiet when I'm doing my exam. Patients aren't stupid, right? They know when you're doing the examination, you're getting things that are going to help them. The things they get mad about is when they feel like they're not heard. When they feel like they're not heard. So give them a chance to have their voice, but get what you need first so you're the most efficient you can possibly be. That's how I've honed my exams to be incredibly efficient. I'll meet them, greet them, I'll get my refraction, get my slit lamp, and then I let them converse with me while I'm putting stuff in the computer. For all they know, I'm taking notes of what they're saying. Right? It's all about perception. And then you know results. You get the case history before you even walk into the exam room. If you have anything remotely in there, you know what you're thinking. Confirm it or go through your list of differentials and then get their input. Right? They make things easier when you know what to ask. But if you don't know what to ask and they're just word vomiting what they think is relevant, you're going to get a bunch of stuff that's not going to help you out. All right. So those are the 5 things I wish I knew. I have a bonus one for you. And this comes to people, and this comes with your staff. Okay. I think it was Maya Angelou who said, people will tell you who they are, believe them. Right. And I've got this sixth sense, this gut over the past few years of when you have a staff member, you know if it's going to work out or you know if there's an issue. Right. And I would say, there's some things I kind of saw, but it's not so bad, right? We'll make it work. And then you make it work and it gets worse. It festers. Remembering that when they interview, that is the best you will ever see them. They are trying to impress you. After that initial interview, it's downhill from there. They expect things. They want things. They're not trying to impress you anymore. You owe them something, right? So take that when you're interviewing, and then when you are working with your staff, if you start to see things that don't line up with your core values, that character traits that don't mesh with the culture you're trying to create, don't force it. Get it out of there. By prolonging it, you're going to make it worse. Now, if you're constantly going through and just turning over constantly your staff, you might want to look in the mirror and realize the common denominator is not anything they're doing, it's you, right? But if you have a group of staff that do very well, that are working with you, that buy into the culture, that prove your concept, find more of those people. But don't tolerate the C players that are going to bring the A players down and they don't want to work with them. You're going to be left with a bunch of C players that do average work, and the A's are going to be like, peace out. I'm going to go somewhere where I'm respected, where the culture represents what they say it is. So people tell you who they are, believe them. So those 6 things, 5 and a bonus, are things I wish I knew when I started. Apply them to your practice. I'm 13 years in and I still think about these things on a daily basis. I'm constantly trying to be better with them, but they've made me a better doctor. They help me grow my practice. Make them your own, and you'll thank me for it. We'll have more for you next week. Where, oh where has the time gone? We are to the closing thought of the episode, and I will leave you with this. I saw this and I thought it was the most amazing thing. And it spoke to me. It resonated in my heart because this is what I love to do. And what I saw was, be who you needed when you were younger. That's so freaking cool. If you're listening to this, or if you're a doctor, or even if you're in optometry school, there's an undergrad student, an optometry student, a young doctor, someone starting practice that is looking up to you and wishing they were in your shoes. They want to have your problems, right? That's their dream. What could you tell them? What could you help them with, right? Perspective, advice. The whole point of this episode is that, right? When you were in that position, what could you have benefited from? And I think back, I go back to high school sports. I don't know why. I guess, high school hero, living those glory days. But thinking about the things that I focused on, that I did, and I wish someone would have just told me, this is not what matters, or trust this. Not a bunch of people telling me what I wanted to hear, or building me up like, you're the best, they're wrong. No, they have a reason they're doing the things they are. You might not be as good as you think you are, or you just need to focus on this one thing. There's a bunch of other things that will matter, but not right now. This is the one thing that matters. And I would love, I can't wait till I'm in the position to have like an extern or a resident work at my office, and I can mentor them and help them be better. That is so much fun for me. But be who you needed when you were younger. You've been given a gift. You're in this position. If you're listening to this, you are some kind of ahead of someone else. Like, you're an optometrist, you're in optometry school. I doubt you're an undergrad, but you are connected to optometry in some way, shape, or form. And know what? You might be regretting your decision to go into optometry school and see someone making the same mistake. Give them your perspective. You have a passion for this. Do this. I made the mistake you made, and this is what I feel like now. Or you might be like me. I wish I would have taken bigger swings. I wish I would have 3 offices right now that were just as big as my office right here. But I was conservative. I've waited too long. I'm 13 years in, and now I'm trying to make moves. Right? I'm 13 years behind where I could have been if I just took some shots. Be who you needed when you were younger. That's what I have for you, Dr. Lily